single day.
Okay, today, September the 14th at 11:10 a.m. We're here today for two formals, one for Joshua O'Sullivan and one for Perry Carter. I'll start reading the formal investigation matrix on Joshua O'Sullivan. Today's date, September 14th, 2015. Today's times, 11:10. This formal investigation has been ordered by Chief Taylor to determine all the facts that pertain to your actions, to the actions of Fire Medic Joshua O'Sullivan. Joshua O'Sullivan was hired on 8/8 of 2007. Is that correct? No, what day were you hired?
8/22.
8/22 of 2007. And the employment for the Employment Agency of Charlotte County Fire and EMS. On or around September 11th, 2015, did you receive notification of this formal investigation?
Yes, sir.
For the record, I will read this letter notifying you of the formal investigation. Notification of investigation. Date 9/11/2015. Employee name Joshua O'Sullivan. Rank firefighter paramedic. Station 5B shift. You are hereby requested to report to Fire EMS Department Headquarters at 26571 Airport Road, Punta Gorda, Florida, for a formal investigation ordered by Mary Ann Taylor, Fire Chief, on September 14th, 2005 at 1100 hours. The administration of this department has been made aware of the allegations that you threatened and insulted another employee. Actually, this is not yours. This is Perry Carter's. Okay, sorry. But it's not.
You're right.
That's Perry Carter's. Actually, this is Perry Carter's. So everything pertains to Perry Carter.
Okay, stop.
Yep, stop. Yep. Okay. Possible rules violation. Insulting, inflammatory, or abusive language or conduct towards other county employees or towards members of the public during work hours. BB. Harassment, brutality, or cruelty to another county employee or member of the public, provided that the act was not lawful or necessarily committed in self-defense or to protect the lives of others. GG. Actions or conduct detrimental to the interest of the county. II. Any other properties substantiated cause which adversely affects the Board of County Commissioners. The purpose of this investigation is to determine all the facts that surround the incident, information received during the investigation. Well, yeah, what's going on?
Is there a problem, John?
He's just clarifying which one you're reading.
Okay, are we clear?
You're saying
Mr. Carter's. This is Mr. Carter's. No,
Because I think
Mr. O'Sullivan.
No, this is Mr. O'Sullivan.
the one that you just read?
You're correct.
This is O'Sullivan's. Aye. No, this is Carter's. Yeah, you're right.
Everybody
Yes,
understand
so-
this is Mr. O'Sullivan.
Wait a minute. This is Mr. O'Sullivan's.
So are these incorrect?
Two Mr. O'Sullivans.
The papers you have in front of you are correct.
Correct.
And what he is reading and has been reading is Mr. O'Sullivan.
Mr. O'Sullivan. Complaint from Mr. Carter to Mr. O'Sullivan.
Okay. Could you then please start from the beginning of the
Yes.
complaint? 'Cause I don't-
Let's do it.
I thought we were talking about Mr.
Okay.
Carter's case. Sorry.
What we're going to do is
It
we're going
is.
to start at the beginning of the second page where he reads the formal investigation notice.
Okay.
We'll start with that and understand that
Yep.
it is O'Sullivan.
Okay.
Right?
Correct.
So, if you could start right here.
Okay. That says Mr. O'Sullivan. Let's start again. You are hereby requested to report to Fire EMS Department Headquarters at 26571 Airport Road, Punta Gorda, Florida, for a formal investigation ordered by Mary Ann Taylor, Fire Chief, on September 14th, 2015 at 1100 hours. The administration of the department has been made aware of the allegations that you threatened and insulted another employee. Possible rules violation. Insulting, inflammatory, or abusive language or conduct towards other county employees or towards members of the public during working hours. BB. harassment, brutality, or cruelty to another county employee or member of the public, provided that the act was not lawfully or necessarily committed in self-defense or to protect the lives of others. GG. Actions or conduct detrimental to the interests of the county. II. Any other properly substantiated cause which adversely affects the Florida County Commissioners. The purpose of this investigation is to determine all the facts that surround the incident. Information received during the investigation will be used in recommended disciplinary action is warranted. I, Battalion Chief Michael Clements, Deputy Chief Fair, and Deputy Chief Van Helden will be conducting the investigation. The following individuals may also be present to give testimony: Lieutenant Robert Dobson, Fire Medic Perry Carter. You may have a representative present during this investigation. This formal investigation will be electronically recorded, and a copy of this recording will be provided upon your request. This investigation will be of reasonable duration and will be permitted to rest on personal necessities. This notice complies with Chapter 112.80 FS titled Firefighter Bill of Rights, identifying who ordered the investigation, location and time, subject of the investigation, purpose of the investigation, who is conducting the investigation, notice of representation, notice of recording, and provisions of rest of the personal necessities. Did this letter notify you of the following? Josh. Location.
Yes.
Who ordered the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Who had advised you of the nature of the investigation? Did it advise you of the nature of the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Did it advise you who would be conducting the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Date and time of the investigation?
Yes, sir.
I skipped that one. Did it advise you of who was going to be present at to give testimony?
Most people, yes, sir.
What do you mean by most people?
Observers.
Oh, okay. Did it advise you of your
You understand give testimony, right?
I'm sorry?
You understand give testimony, correct?
Lieutenant Dobson and Mr. Carter are the only two giving testimony.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you were notified of that,
Yes.
correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Did it advise you of your representation?
Yes, sir.
Did it advise you of duration and breaks?
Yes, sir.
Please give an oath. Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? This investigation will be recorded, and a copy of this recording will be provided to you upon your request. I'm going to go around the room and write down who's present, and you give your name and your rank, where you're from. Starting from the left.
Jackie Stevens, Human Resources Generalist, here as an observer.
Katie Ranson, Human Resources Generalist, also here as an observer.
Matt McRoy, Lieutenant. Steward, Union Representation for Joshua Sullivan.
David Stokes, District Vice President, here as an observer for the union. Joshua Sullivan, fireman.
Craig Sush, Lieutenant, Union Representation for Perry Carter.
Perry Carter, fire medic.
Robert Dobson, Lieutenant, here as a witness.
Jason Fair, Deputy Chief.
Michael Clements, Battalion Chief. Okay.
Mr. Carter.
Yep. Conclusion of Mr. Carter's notice of investigation. Mr. O'Sullivan's notice of investigation. Why am I missing that up?
It's not.
Okay. Now I'll read the second one, since we're all here.
This is Pierce.
Today's date, September 14th, 2005. Time is continuing at 11:20. This formal investigation has been ordered by Mary Ann Taylor, Fire Chief, to determine all the facts that pertain to the actions of Fire Medic Perry Carter. Perry Carter was hired on, and I presume we have the same date, which would be 8/22/2007,
Yes, sir.
at the Employment Agency of Charlotte County Fire and EMS Department. On or around September 11th, 2015, did you receive notification of this formal investigation?
Yes.
For the record, I will read this letter notifying you of the formal investigation. Has the date of 9/11/2015, employee name Perry Carter, rank firefighter paramedic, station 2A shift. You are hereby requested to report to Fire EMS Department Headquarters at 26571 Airport Road, Punta Gorda, Florida, for a formal investigation ordered by Mary Ann Taylor, Fire Chief, on September 14, 2005 at 1100 hours. The administration of this department has been made aware of allegations that you accessed and electronically transmitted confidential information of another employee in addition to using insulting language towards another employee. Possible rules violation. Unauthorized use of county personal service supplies, property, facilities, or equipment. Violation of county policy and procedure, department or work unit rules, or applicable federal, state, or local laws and regulations governing public employees. Insulting, inflammatory, or abusive language or conduct towards other county employees or towards members of the public during work hours. Harassment, brutality, or cruelty to another county employee or member of the public, provided that the act was not lawfully or necessarily committed in self-defense or to protect the lives of others. Actions or conduct detrimental to the interests of the county. Any other properly substantiated cause which adversely affects the Board of County Commissioners, Charlotte County Board of County Commissioners Policies and Procedures, Section 3.25. The purpose of this investigation is to determine all the facts that surround the incident. Information received during the investigation will be used in recommendation disciplinary action if warranted. I, Battalion Chief Michael Clemens, Deputy Chief Fair, and Deputy Chief Van Helen will be conducting this investigation. The following individuals may also be present to give testimony: Robert Dobson, Fire Medic Joshua Sullivan. You may have a representative present during this investigation. This formal investigation will be electronically recorded, and a copy of this recording will be provided to you upon your request. This investigation will be of reasonable duration. You will be permitted periods to rest and for personal necessities. This notice complies with Chapter 112.80 FS titled Firefighter Bill of Rights, identifying who ordered the investigation, location and time, subject of the investigation, purpose of the investigation, who is conducting the investigation, notice of representation, notice of recording and provisions for rest and personal necessity. Did this letter notify you of the following, yes or no? Location?
Yes.
Date and time of the investigation?
Yes.
Who ordered the investigation?
Yes.
Did it advise you of the nature of the investigation?
Yes.
Did it advise you to be conducting the investigation?
Yes.
Did it advise you of who is present to give testimony?
Yes.
Did it advise you of your representation?
Yes.
Did it advise you of duration and breaks?
Yes.
Take the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
This investigation will be recorded, and a copy of this recording will be provided upon your request. I'm going to go around the room from left to right like we did last time, and give your name and your rank, please.
Jackie Stevens, Human Resources Generalist, here as an observer.
Katie Ranson, Human Resources Generalist, also here as an observer.
Matt McElroy, Lieutenant, DVP, or Union Steward, for Joshua Sullivan.
David Stokes, District Vice President for Charlotte County Fire and EMS, observer.
Joshua Sullivan, Fire Medic, under investigation.
Greg Such, Lieutenant, Union Representation for Perry Carter.
Perry Carter, Fire Medic.
Robert Dobson, Lieutenant. Witness.
Jason Bear, Deputy Chief.
Mike Clemens, Battalion Chief. Okay, this time we're gonna. Yep.
Alright, it's 11:25. I'm stopping the recording.
11:32, September 14th. Continuing with Paramedic Carter's formal investigation. Okay. Paramedic Carter, is this your statement regarding the incident on August 26th?
Yes, sir.
Could you read that first, please?
Okay, yes. Chief, per our conversation this afternoon, this is what transpired at Station 5 on 8/26/15. This morning as I arrived at Station 5 for work, both myself and Josh O'Sullivan were on overtime. In situations like this, normally the senior person gets the engine and the less senior person gets the rescue. Josh and I were both hired on the same day, so seniority is figured by the last 4 digits of our social security number. During discussion with Josh, he claimed his last 4 was higher than mine, and that was why he got the engine. As the day progressed, everything was going fine, and as a group, we were discussing bids to stations, and Josh let it slip. He actually had a very low last 4 social security. This conversation caused me to remember that when the department first got the new FH Web program, we were told to confirm our emails were correct. And at that time, I noticed that my own social security number, driver's license, and address, and all contact information were stored there as well. So today I logged into my FH Web from the county computer, as I normally do each day, and opened Firehouse, and clicked the staff member link. Instead of entering my name into the search, I entered O'Sullivan, and all his information popped up just like it had done when I checked my own info previously. I saw that indeed Josh had lied about his social, and so I took a picture with my phone and sent a text message to him and called him a liar. Then in parentheses, I cannot confirm exactly what the message said because when this situation blew up, Lieutenant Dobson instructed me to delete the message and picture off my phone. Next thing I know, Josh is yelling at me in the main sitting area of the station because he was upset over being called a liar. He was trying to provoke me and told me the only way I would get the engine was to physically attack him for the engine keys. And when I told him I was not going to get into a physical altercation with him, he got even more mad and was throwing insults at me. I thought the situation had ended there, and I moved into the bunk room to defuse the situation because it is well known that Josh has gotten into physical altercation at Station 5 before. A few hours later, Lieutenant Dobson talked to me in private and asked me to delete the picture message off my phone because it was Josh's private information. Lieutenant Dobson also asked me how I accessed this information, and when I told him how, that is when it finally came to light that I have more access into FH Web than I'm supposed to. Prior to this situation occurring, I had no idea that the county or headquarters had given me access or privileges I should not have. I was not trying to violate anybody's privacy or cause anybody harm today. All of this occurred because I was trying to win an argument, and for that I truly apologize. I heard briefly from Lieutenant Dobson that Josh is concerned that the picture I took is somehow on the cloud or sent to others, and I can assure you that is not possible. I have an iPhone 4 and I have not updated it since purchase 4 to 5 years ago. There is no cloud on my phone, and I like it that way. I would also like to take a moment to apologize to all the officers involved in this situation, as I understand it takes you away from your important duties to deal with this. Thank you, Perry Carter. Station 2.
Okay, now can you start off with the day and how the day progressed in your own words? That day, September 26th.
As I arrived at Station 5, I approached the lieutenant. He was in the engine. I said, "Where am I at today, sir?" He said, "You're on the rescue." I said, "Okay."
Okay, is that so? He told you were on Rescue 5 that
Yes.
day? Okay.
So I, did the morning truck check, did all that. We did the station duties, and maybe 2 hours later, we were all inside talking, and that's when the events there occurred.
Okay, tell me what occurred.
We started out just talking about our new union contract and going back and forth on that issue. And the recent rounds of station bids came up, and that's when Josh brought up his social security number that was very low, whereas earlier he brought up it was high, and that's why he got the engine.
Okay.
And I was like, oh. And I just kind of made a mental note there, right? Well, then Engine 5, I believe, had to come down to headquarters to swap out. So it was just the rescue at the station. That's when I decided to go look in FH Web and see if I if I could confirm it.
Okay, so how did you do that? Tell me how you did that.
I went on to the county computer in the front office.
Mhm.
And I just entered, my login into FH Web,
Mhm.
clicked staff, and then typed O'Sullivan in the top
Okay.
line.
No, you typed in his name
Yes.
to look up his information.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Have we ever done that before?
No.
To anybody else? Any other member?
Nobody but me, no.
Nobody but you? Okay. And what time of day did that happen, that you did that?
If I
Roughly.
guess, noonish.
Noonish?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you put in his name and hit enter, what came up?
Just like on mine, everything. I mean, everything
Everything?
is address, license, his
Okay.
paramedic number, everything's on there.
Okay, and then what did you do then?
Then I took my phone out and I took a picture of the screen right there and I texted it to Josh and
Okay.
I called him a liar.
Okay. What did you remember exactly what you texted him?
No, it's possible. I think I called him a liar. Am I allowed to use profanity here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I used the F word. I think I called him a dick. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
And then I immediately sent him another text about a minute later. I said, "Isn't it unbelievable that everybody's information is on these computers for you to look?" Because I honestly had no idea that not everybody could do that. I didn't know I had extra access. I didn't know. I thought everybody could do that, and honestly, I was a little surprised. I don't.
Mhm.
'Cause I understand why.
Did you try putting in any other people's names or
no.
anything?
Mm.
So Josh's is the only name that you did other than yours
Yes.
to look up the information.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, later on that day, when Chief Messina called me
Mhm.
to confirm access, they had me put in Mike Davis's
Okay.
just to see if I could still.
And what
do it.
happened then?
Same thing. Everything came up.
Everything came up?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, as a note, sir,
hmm
we checked on Friday. I still have full access.
You still have full access?
Yes, sir. Which, just with the seriousness of everything I'm up against here, I think that should be removed.
Okay. What happened next?
Um,
You had interactions with Josh O'Sullivan.
okay, well, it was probably maybe 2 hours later when they came back to the station.
hmm
I think we actually ran a call together, a vehicle accident. So we come back to the station. I said, "So do you want to talk about the whole lying situation?" And then that's right then when the argument started, and he just instantly was hostile, angry. He said, "This is his station. The only way I would get the engine was to attack him and take the keys from him."
Why did what unit you were on and he was on, why was that still discussed? Why did that come up? Because, I'm just saying the lieutenant told who was on what, so
Yeah, no.
why did that discussion come back up about who's on what unit?
It wasn't even the unit really had nothing to do with it. To me, like I mentioned in the bottom of my statement, it was just to win the argument, because he lied. It's just, that's just what we do around the fire station. I guess we just kind of mess with each other.
So you mess with each other. Is this a normal, what happened, I'm talking about the way you guys talk to each other, was that a normal way you talk to each other? You mess with each other, pretty
Yes.
much? Okay.
I'd say pretty much department-wide, that's kind of how people go back and forth. And language is used. And
Okay.
But as far as hostilities, no, I don't think it ever. I think normally people just take it as what it is.
Okay. Right.
So you made the statement that you were surprised to have that kind of access.
Yes, sir.
So you understood that that's more than you should have.
No, sir. I was surprised. I thought everybody had it right then. I thought the entire department, everybody could look at that stuff.
Okay, and at what point was it okay for you to transmit someone's personal information?
I just sent it to him just to prove that I had it. I didn't think. Honestly, I didn't put any thought into what I was doing. I just did it to prove him wrong, I guess.
How do you view that decision now?
Terrible, poor judgment. I should just, with certain people, you just should not engage them, and I should just not engage that day.
Okay, so that's because it was O'Sullivan. Now what about the decision overall as far as accessing that information and then transmitting it? There's two issues. One, you just isolated as being because of the person. Now what about the transmitting of the information? How do you view that now?
I understand that's wrong.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely wrong.
What happened after you guys were talking in the, I believe, the day room? You said you went back to your bunk.
Yes.
Did you guys have any other interactions after that?
I did not see or talk to him the rest of the day.
Okay.
He locked himself in the front office.
Did you talk to anybody else about what happened?
Just when Lieutenant Dobson came to me, he basically just told me what Josh had accused me of doing.
Okay.
And then when you showed up later on.
Okay.
But during the day room, firefighter EMT Ryan Hay was there the entire
I have a statement from.
Okay.
Would you like me to read his statement?
Sure.
Not necessary. Okay. All right. Anything else you have, Chief? I don't think I have anything else either. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
We're going to hold
Can I
you.
ask something to summary?
Okay, time is 11:40.
Okay, we're back with Mr. O'Sullivan and Lieutenant McElroy. Dr. O'Sullivan, is this your statement that you sent to me about the incident on August 26th?
Looks like my rough draft book, yes.
Yes. Okay, could you go ahead and read that for us, please?
Chief Clements, per our conversation, a statement is below. I apologize that this is long and maybe goes over and rants the same points, but I'm extremely angry that I have my PPI data breached via a county-run application by another employee. No one but payroll should have access to this information, and it should be locked up like Fort Knox. My social security number is mine and confidential. Today, August 26, 2015, Perry Carter and I were discussing the last 4 of our social security numbers pertaining to the county seniority since we were hired on the same date. I told Perry my last 4 socials started with a 9 as I felt it was none of his concern and wanted the conversations to be over. While we, Engine 5, were on our way to EVM to swap out engines, Perry texted me a photo at 10:15 a.m. that he took of him accessing my firehouse and staff info and displaying my social security number with the comment stating, you want me to read that?
Sure.
You're a fucking liar. I have the photo he sent me via text, but was told by Chief Clements not to send it via email as it contains my driver's license and social security number, and emails can be requested via public records request. He took this photo with his iPhone. When you take a photo of an iPhone, it doesn't matter if you delete it. It is stored in an online cloud-based library that can be hacked by anyone. There was a famous hack of celebrity photos that were in the iCloud in 2014. So basically all of my personal information is in the cloud that can be hacked, and there's no telling who or where Perry could have sent my personal information to. There is no telling who else's info he may have taken and written down or taken photos in the past. It could have been you. When you delete a photo on iPhone, it still shows up in deleted photo albums. If the phone is ever stolen, some other person now has my driver's license number, social security number, etc. Perry now has the ability to go on any website and input my info with driver's license, social security number to apply for loans, credit cards, etc. He can access my personal medical information, history via Cigna, and social security number to apply for loans, credit cards, etc. He can access my, I read that already, my bad. Cigna because he has my name, of date of birth, address, and social security number. This is a breach of my personal identification information, a violation of numerous SOG, county policy and procedures, and administrative codes, not to mention criminal if he ever goes and uses this info to apply for credit, etc. This is basically like he went in my wallet and stole my driver's license and social security card, for which I don't carry information. I am extremely upset and feel violated that my private info was accessed. I have no idea how he had access to retrieve this information via Firehouse. My only thought is that he still had administrative privileges when he was an FTO. Before we got to the shop, we had a rollover on I-75. After this call, we went back to EVM to swap into Engine 5, and I went to Chief Messina, showed him the photo, and voiced my displeasure that another person, Perry Carter, now has all my vital personal information that nobody but myself should have. Chief Messina then proceeded to do something on his computer, which I assume was to take away Perry's ability to access that private information anymore. When I got back to the station, Perry proceeded to call me a liar again due to me giving him a fake last 4 numbers of my social security number, and that everybody has access to that information. At this point, Lieutenant Dobson, Ryan A., and possibly Michael Slicker may have been around for this exchange, as Perry was sitting in a chair in the living room of Station 5 on his laptop. I also told Fire EMT Hay that Perry accessed my personal information and had access to my driver's license number and my confidential social security card number. Lieutenant Dobson tried to access this very same information via county computer / firehouse and was unable to in his office. Nobody should have access to another person's social security number and driver's license number. The fact that county seniority, if hired on the same date, is based on the last 4 highest social numbers is a bad thing. It leads to issues like this and should be lowest payroll ID as before. That social security info should be private, and has nothing to do with seniority, even if it is just the last 4.
You want to read all 5 pages?
If I can get it out, a little parched. Later in the day, Lieutenant Hernandez showed up at the station to give me my Fitbit that he picked up from me today. I asked if I could speak with him in the bay and told him what happened and how upset I was over my stolen information. He told me if I wanted to complain, I would have to go to my on-duty lieutenant today, Lieutenant Dobson. When Lieutenant Hernandez left, I approached Lieutenant Dobson in the bay and told him how access my personal info via the county's computer, and Perry stole my social and ID via Firehouse. We talked about how he could steal my identity, that this would be criminal if he ever went on a website or tried to apply for credit, etc., with my stolen information. We spoke about how upset I was, how violated I felt, how he would feel the same, how no one should have access to this type of information. I felt like this is somewhat negligent on the county's part to allow my PPI to be breached, which I think is actually PII. But Lieutenant Dobson called Chief Clements to explain how angry I was at the fact someone hacked and got access to my PPI. I am tasked with people's personal information, including driver's license and social security number, each and every time I go on a medical call, and I would never violate the trust of our taxpayers, customers, and steal and take a picture of their social security number and or driver's license. The thought has never crossed my mind, yet a coworker steals my information and takes a photo of it and taunts me by sending me a picture of it. No telling if he has ever stolen protected data from a coworker or patients or any call. Perry Carter and I have had many run-ins in our time in the fire EMS department. We were hired together on the same day. I'm not sure if this can be used, so I don't know evidence that he has manipulated my online information before. I never reported this, but on 12/30/07, we worked together at Rescue 7, and he submitted an email from my account to the whole department that I will forward to you. Did you get that one?
Mm-hmm.
I forwarded it to you. He made comments about this specific email when he and Lieutenant Dobson were trying to see how he could access my info via Firehouse, and this occurred in the computer room at Station 5. This is just to show you that there has been past times where he's gained access to my info, that time being my email, and sent out the email I am forwarding to you. This might have been due to me leaving my email open or not, but still it is unacceptable. I was a good sport and went along with it without causing issue, probably due to the fact I was still on probation at the time it occurred, and there was no repercussions to me. There are other examples, but this is a concrete one of him using my email to send a mass email out via county computer. It was an embarrassment to me, especially being a new employee on probation. Some key bullet points. Management or the like.
Stop there for a second. Is there anything else from the rest of your statement that speaks to the interaction between you and Mr. Carter?
The interaction pertaining to
that day.
that day.
I'm trying to separate your specific concerns versus what happened on that day.
Perry knowingly made a copy of my social security number, driver's license, home address, date of birth, etc. by taking a picture of it with his iPhone and texting it to me. And this is detrimental to me regardless if he deleted it, shared it, sold it, or posted it somewhere. It is now in a cloud-based online program due to iPhone.
Just give us a second. We'll look through the other pages, please.
You got it. Do take your time because we do want to capture all of it. So,
You want me to just read it all, or
just the information that pertains to the interaction between you and Mr. Carter.
I stated, do I know if Perry is a thief and would use my personal information for his gain? No, I do not, but I shouldn't be in the situation of having to worry and question that in the first place. If I ever choose to use my PPI, I would be vulnerable in many aspects. As a firefighter, I am exempt from public record. If you look up my property in Lee County, you will not find it, as myself and my wife filled out paperwork to block out all our information with tax collector's office due to our professions of firefighter and attorney. Yet Perry Carter now knows where I live, my date of birth, my driver's license number, and my social security number. Driver's license and social are not info that would ever be given out via public record request or any other outlet, but yet there it wasn't open for him to take.
You both were working that day, the August 26th, 2015, correct?
Yes, sir.
Both on overtime that day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you tell me how the day started and who assigned you to what apparatus?
I was on the engine the previous night, so I had the keys to the engine, and I signed the keys back in the morning.
Okay, did the lieutenant tell you to go on the engine, stay on the engine when he came in, Lieutenant Dobson?
Harry asked, and he said go to the rescue of me on the engine.
Okay. You were there when the lieutenant said that Perry was on the rescue?
I saw him go up to Lieutenant Dobson and ask, and he stated that in the statement too.
Okay, could you lead us through the events of that day, between your interactions between you and Perry?
With Perry, I try to have as little interaction as possible. Just like I'm not getting into that with him, but one interaction we had was we were talking about the new contract, how it says that Social Security lasts for definite for seniority, as there's been some discretion in the past year or two with that. And I said, yeah, my last four starts with a 9, just to throw it out there, because like I said, I don't think it's any of his concern what my last four is. So we got a call to go swap out into engine 5, and on the way to engine 5, I got a text message that I showed you, I showed Lieutenant Dobson, you told me not to send,
It's in the statement.
and I have it here for you to see if you want.
Yeah, so.
Does anybody else want to see that one?
We have it.
Yeah, gotcha. And then I was just floored that somebody would send that to me and then state, you're a effing liar to me. I didn't cuss back to him. I got the whole text message. On the way to EVM, we got called for a rollover on 75 that you were on, the two vehicles. We interacted fine, had no issues. We went back to EVM. We were waiting to swap into the other one. I went and talked to Chief Messina and kind of vented to him that, how could this person have this information? I was upset. He then went on the computer and I'm assuming took away the privileges for him to get on Firehouse and access that information. When we got back to the station, went into the kitchen and Perry was sitting in the corner and he was basically calling, so you're a liar.
Was he in the kitchen or was he in the...
I was in the kitchen, standing where the thing is, whatever it's called, the island.
Yep.
And he was in the corner chair, and he basically just kept on goading me, so you're a liar, I should be on the engine.
So he still brought up the engine issue?
Yeah, back and forth, and I said, look, I got the keys, if you want it, just come and get it. I had enough. I was on the engine.
What you mean by, if you want it, come get it?
If you want the keys, I'll give them to you, and you can have the engine. At this point, I don't even care anymore. I wanted as little interaction as possible with them at that point because I just didn't want anything else to occur.
How were you guys talking to each other when you guys were talking about the keys? Were you yelling or were you just talking? Or?
No, just talking. I have a loud voice because I got hearing issues. So, anybody that knows me knows that I talk pretty loud. And everybody always asks, why do you talk so loud? So, but no, we were just going back and forth. I believe Ryan Hay was there. I think Lieutenant Dobson was there.
Okay.
And it was just a back and forth, and that was when I said, just take the keys if you want them. And then he didn't say anything else, and I just walked out.
And that's all you said was take the keys if you want?
If you want the keys, take them. Yeah.
Okay, what happened after that interaction?
I just kept on kind of stewing and was upset. Just that he basically had no remorse for going in there and getting my information. Didn't apologize for anything. He just had no sympathy or anything. Didn't feel he did anything wrong. So Lieutenant Hernandez showed up, and he's my lieutenant. So I feel comfortable talking with him about issues. And
he showed up into the station?
Yeah, he was bringing me one of those fit bands or whatever. So I took him out and asked him if I could talk to him privately in the bay, and said, check out this text message. This is what I got. This guy has my information. I'm really upset about it. And he said, well, if you want to push this, you need to tell your lieutenant on duty. So then that's when I went and told Lieutenant Dobson. He was in the bay too, just doing something else. I asked him a little parched, but I asked him to go outside and showed him the text message and said, this is my personal information. This is like going in my wallet, stealing any kind of personal information I have. He agreed with me. We went in his office and talked a little more. He went on Firehouse to see if he was able to access information, and he was not.
Okay.
Via Firehouse, you go to that tab, and then the administration of things. I asked him to call you because I wasn't. I think he called you, and you asked him to delete the photo and get an apology, which I never got an apology, and I don't know if he deleted the photo.
Okay.
And I said that's just not good enough. Basically, this person stole, access private information and took a picture of it. I didn't have any more interaction with him. I stayed in the computer trying to research some stuff about having your Social Security breached, I was looking up all the administrative codes that we had, the accounting policies and procedures, the SOGs that were violated. Then you showed up, asked me to wait a second. I think you called Perry and got a statement from him. I was in the computer room. He came and got me, got a statement. I explained the same thing that I'm explaining to you now, how upset I was, and showed you the thing. You asked me to write a statement. I went back out to the computer rooms and kept on researching, writing the statement. Later in the day, I think Captain Davis called and asked me if I can access that information on Firehouse, and he did the same thing with Perry Carter.
Were you able to?
I don't remember if I was. I went on the tab and it didn't access it, and I think they did something on their end. They were messing with it. I don't know if you could check somebody to give them those privileges, and then it popped up where it did show my information.
Okay. Do you know if what happened with Perry Cars when he went in to look at his?
He went into there, and Slicker was on the one computer, and I was on this computer still doing research and typing stuff out, and he basically just stood behind me as kind of over top of me, like you just stand right behind somebody, and I just ignored him. And then he made a comment about, this guy, he won't get off the computer, something like that. And I said, you didn't ask me to get off the computer. There's a computer right there. He's done with it. Go use that. That's when Lieutenant Dobson came in there and talked to him. And then that's when Perry Carter kept on trying to goat me. And it was basically like, if you didn't lie about this wouldn't have happened. Still not taking any accountability for him going and accessing this information.
And this continued?
Continued, yeah.
Okay.
You asked me, am I okay to continue working with him? But I never had another interaction with him the whole day.
Okay. Now, when you were at the computer checking after the call from Captain Davis, you said Perry was behind you while you were doing that?
I had finished, and then I gave the phone, I think, to Lieutenant Dobson to give to Perry because he wanted him to do the same thing.
Now, was this in the afternoon before I was contacted, or was this later on in the day? Do you know?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Because I believe I was at your station probably 4:30, 5 o'clock.
I think it might have been after.
Okay.
I think it might have been, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. And you guys, you were talking about he tried to get on the computer and you said there's one over there. No one's on it now.
Yeah, because I was using the computer. Basically, he didn't even ask me if I'd get up. He didn't say anything. He was just kind of hovering over me, in a kind of threatening.
Now, was that the same type of tone and the way you were talking to each other earlier on when you first got back from EVM, when you both?
No. We were going back and forth, and I finally said, look, if your Social Security number's higher, just take the keys. I don't care.
Okay.
First of all, the Lieutenant Hernandez said it doesn't even matter who's whatever.
Yeah,
it's
the
their
lieutenant.
decision.
Okay. Okay.
So the decision was made, but I'd had it at that point with having a picture sent to me, being cussed at.
And that's all you pretty much said was, if you want the keys, just take them.
Yeah, just take them. You know what?
Was there any language used at that time, either one of you?
And then he probably called me an effing liar again.
Okay. Did you use any language towards him?
No. So, I've had, obviously, this process before, and I've kind of learned from it. I've tried to, so, no language was used.
Okay. Any questions, Chief?
At any time, did you threaten Mr. Carter?
No.
Okay. Did you follow him around, egg him on at all?
Negative, no.
Okay. At any time, did you make a statement such as, you're going to have to attack me for the keys?
No.
You never made such a statement?
No. I said, if you want the keys, you can come and get them.
And, okay.
Come and get them. Literally, I will take them off. You can have them. We'll sign the drug log.
Tell me how he goaded you.
After the fact, when I made the complaint to him, and they wanted to access the computers, he kept on just saying, "You're a liar. This wouldn't happen if you're a liar." You know, taking no responsibility that I'm not the one that accessed my information. He was the one that accessed his or my information. I didn't do that. He did. And sent me, basically. I mean, you know,
So by goading you, he called you a liar. That was goading you. I need you to define what that.
I was in
How
the
did
room
he goad
with
you?
Lieutenant Dobson.
So Lieutenant Dobson was there, correct?
Yes, in that room. Lieutenant Dobson was trying to see if he can access the computer. We have a computer here, we have a computer here. They were at this computer, I was at this computer. And he kept on just saying, if he didn't lie about this, this would have never happened. If he didn't lie about this would have never happened. Basically, being abusive to me and trying to get me to react. And I didn't react.
Okay, abusive to you.
Yes, I would term that somebody continually calling me a liar and not dropping it after I've already filed a complaint about somebody to be abusive continually. If I would have done that, I would have thought I would have been abusive if I was keep on calling somebody a name that, you know, shouldn't be called.
At any point, did you share that with the lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the lieutenant do?
Lieutenant was right there when it was happening. Lieutenant was kind of like, just concentrate on what you're doing, just concentrate on what you're doing, basically. While I'm sitting there still trying to write my statement, still trying to research all the different administrative codes, SOGs, policies, and procedures.
Okay. How many people have you shown this to?
The text message?
Yes.
Chief Clements, Lieutenant McElroy, Lieutenant Dobson, Lieutenant Hernandez, Ryan Hay, my wife. Oh, and Chief Messina, that's the first person I showed. I think that's about it.
So you've shown your social security number to all these people?
No, I had it.
He has blacked out.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the paper you submitted?
What paper? The statement?
Yes.
I'd show that to.
No.
What? What paper?
The picture of your.
Oh, and Chief Taylor. I put a picture of it in Chief Taylor's inbox.
Is your social security visible
Yeah.
on there?
Yeah, it is on that one. But
Do you know where that is now?
No.
Okay.
The fact of that matter is that I voluntarily showed them that stuff to show that somebody accessed it.
Okay.
I wouldn't have to do that if somebody didn't go in there and steal my data.
The copy he had showed me did not have access.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, that's all I have too. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
September 14th, 2015. Lieutenant Dobson. We have a couple of questions for you, Lieutenant Dobson. First of all, this is your statement, correct?
Correct.
Could you read that, please?
Chief, in regards to Fire Medic O'Sullivan and Fire Medic Carter, this morning at shift change, Fire Medic Carter walked in and asked what apparatus he was being assigned to. I immediately told him Rescue 5. Later in the morning, I heard Mr. O'Sullivan and Mr. Carter discussing seniority as per the new proposed contract bargaining agreement and how seniority of personnel hired on the same date will be given to the person with the highest last 4 digits of their social security number. In the afternoon, around 14:45, Mr. O'Sullivan walked up to me and showed me a text message with a photo of his personal information, which included his social security number and driver's license number. On his personal, well, it says person, there's a typo, it should be personal phone sent from Mr. Carter. The photo was of the administrative tab from the additional records tab of the staff members in the firehouse program. I made contact with you, Chief Clemens, by phone near 1500 hours. And as per our conversation, I talked with Mr. Carter about deleting the text with Mr. O'Sullivan's information and send Mr. O'Sullivan a confirmation of that task. I also discussed with Mr. Carter that assessing personal information with other employees is not allowed as addressed in our SOGs in Charlotte County's policies and procedures.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, if you could you just kind of explain, first of all, kind of what happened, and was there any discussion other than when you told Mr. Carter to go on Rescue 5? Well, I mean, did he say anything after you told him that?
No, I walked out of my office. He was coming in from the parking lot, and we just happened to see each other. He asked me right off the bat. He was reporting for duty. I told him Rescue 5. Everything. Everybody was started checking out their equipment, the apparatus. There was a new contract bargaining agreement discussion. People were discussing this new proposed contract, and that conversation was going on. Shortly afterwards, we were sent to EVM to swap out of reserve engine 22 back into engine 5. And once we got here, we were sent on a call to I-75 for a rollover. We had a couple patients, and then coming back here, swapped into our engine 5. Went back to the station. It was after 12:30, around lunchtime. Nothing out of the ordinary, other than I checked with. It was my first shift back from being off a couple days. Fireman McCurry had been off a couple days, and I checked people's training. I mentioned everybody about making sure they get their protocol test up to date.
Sure. Okay, 1 second. What happened, what interactions after that morning did you see between Fire Medic O'Sullivan and Fire Medic Carter when you got back from the call?
The next
specifically.
The next interaction was when Mr. O'Sullivan walked into my office and showing me his personal phone with his personal information on it, and said that Fire Medic Carter just sent this to him. It's got his personal information. He is upset about it.
And that's when you got back from the call?
No, that was about 2:45. We finished up, I think, swapping into engine 5 about 12:30. So there was a couple hours after getting back. I think Mr. O'Sullivan, I don't know if he got on the computer to do his training. I think Fire Medic McCurry was on there doing hers.
Okay. Was Fire Medic McCurry working that day?
Yes, that was her.
Because because she was off, wasn't she? Because that's why they were both working overtime. Correct. I just want to clear that up.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Now, do you remember coming back from the call on the interstate after? Did Fire Medic O'Sullivan show you the picture of the text that Carter sent him while you were swapping out at headquarters earlier on in the day?
You know what? I remember we were at support services, and I believe he was showing some. I think he might even showed Chief Messina something about it, and I don't know if I saw it then or not. I believe that's when we were swapping out.
And then when you got back to the station after the call, after you swapped out, did you hear any interaction between Carter and O'Sullivan in the station when you first got back?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Now, when was the next time you were in the same room as the both of them when they were talking about this issue?
They weren't in the same room the next time. The next time I really remember anything specific about this was Mr. O'Sullivan showing that to me about 2:45, and called you, and then I went back and talked to Mr. Carter about deleting this, and that once he does this, we had a little discussion about it. And I told him, send Mr. O'Sullivan the text that you did that. the discussion we had, he was about apologizing to him. He didn't think he should apologize. I said, well, send him a text stating that you did delete his information.
So Perry Carter said to you that he wasn't going to apologize for doing what he did
He didn't feel he had to
by accessing
apologize.
his information and
Correct.
sending the information to O'Sullivan. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were you there when Josh O'Sullivan was at the computer looking up Social Security and issues, violations, and policies, procedures that may possibly have been violated? Were you in the same room?
Yeah, he was talking, when he showed me this information, he'd also said his wife being a attorney for Social Security, that, you know, this is criminal and stuff, and I said, well, I don't believe it's criminal unless you use that information in a criminal act. Accessing it isn't criminal. Sending it over there is, you know, again, against, you know, our policies and stuff, or I felt. And then he's, you know, we looked up specific
So the both of you looked it up?
SOGs. Yeah, I believe it was on my, it may have been on my computer. He showed me on his, then I went up and looked up things.
Okay, was that in your office or was that up front with the two computers on? Do you remember?
It may have been there, but I do know I looked it up on my computer.
Okay. Now, do you remember when the both of you were together?
I believe that was in my office.
Okay. Okay. And do you recall any interactions between Perry Carter and O'Sullivan about accessing a computer while someone else was on it? Do you remember anything like that?
Well, we talked about the communication systems, you know, SOG 102, electronic communication systems, where you shouldn't be accessing someone else's, you know, information while they're on it, and, without their permission and stuff.
What was Perry's attitude when you were telling him?
The whole interaction with Perry was that he has access to this. He doesn't know how he has it. Maybe when he was an FTO, field training officer, because I told him, I said, I don't have that kind of access, and I don't believe, you know, that you need it either. You know, for someone with Social Security, that's something I believe would be more right up at Human Resources rather than in our little world there.
Okay. And do you recall any interaction between the both guys, specifically about Mr. O'Sullivan giving the keys to Perry so he could go on the engine? Were you there for any of that conversation?
No. The only, after asking Mr. Carter to delete the information, send confirmation that Mr. O'Sullivan, I did ask both of them individually, away from each other, if you know, they're uncomfortable working together with each other, and both of them denied having any problem working the shift with each other. I also asked the firefighter EMTs if they had any problem. They felt uncomfortable, and everybody was, you know, fine. I mean, there's never any talk or discussion in anger. You know, it all
So
seemed,
in your point of view, there was nobody was yelling. Was there any foul language used?
there was foul language on the text message, the copy of Mr. O'Sullivan's information, and Mr. Carter did, you know, call him bad language, you know.
Yeah. But did you witness any interaction between the both of them where they were hostile towards each other or very aggressive or threatening in any way?
Not that I saw.
Not that you saw?
Or heard.
Oh, here. Okay. Did any of them tell you that the other person had threatened them or had used language other than the
No.
text?
No.
When you talked to them after the incident, no one said nothing?
Correct, and you know what? Because of the the whole situation, and Mr. O'Sullivan being upset about this, and is when, you know, I asked him. I believe I might even talk with you about that. You know, if they had a problem, because I thought thought you mentioned, you say, well, we can take care of that if they, if they need to be separated, we can move,
But I know
somebody around.
you didn't feel that this was a hostile or they were being aggressive.
Not
towards
at
each
all.
other.
In fact, the rest of the shift, it seemed like there was a lot of, there wasn't as much interaction between everybody, verbally. It seemed to get quiet after this, situation. And I believe you came, stopped by the station about 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay, any questions, Chief?
Yes, Mr. O'Sullivan showed you the text that he received from.
Yes.
Okay. Did it contain the Social Security number? Was that visible to you?
Yes.
Okay.
And his driver's license number.
Okay. Both were visible
Both
to you
were
when
on.
he showed it to you.
Yes.
Okay. We have statements from both of the individuals claiming mistreatment from the other. Okay. You're the officer in that station with them that entire day.
Correct.
Okay. How would you define the interaction between the two throughout the day?
Cordial, not even cordial. I mean, there was no interaction. I mean, even during meal times, everybody, ate at different times, fixed their food. It's a very unremarkable day after that.
At any point, did you have to talk to either of them about attitude or behavior toward the other, or in general?
Not after I asked if either of them had a problem working there, if they, felt uncomfortable.
And why did you feel the need to ask that question?
Because of the interaction, and Mr. O'Sullivan was definitely upset about his information being on his iPhone.
Okay, so how did he display being upset? How did you know he was upset?
Well, he was telling me he was, highly upset, that this information's here, and he goes, even with it being deleted, he says, this is an iPhone, there could be information up on the cloud, that's there forever. So he was explaining why it was so bothering to him, and to the fact that he had also called his spouse, and she didn't like that either.
So he displayed that to you verbally?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, we were in my office at that time.
So his only concerns were to you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, the time is 12:30. Recording. And this is going to be a continuation of the investigation with Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter, in your statement, you had made the comment that Mr. O'Sullivan had provoked you. Could you go into an explanation of by what means, how?
Okay, yes. Well, it happened several times throughout the day, actually. But, the first time was during the big blow-up when I said, do you want to talk about the liar thing? And he immediately just said, it doesn't matter, any of it. He said, this is my station, this is my engine, you can't come into my station and take my engine. He goes, the only way you could get it is to physically come over here and take these from me. And then when I said, I'm not going to do that, I believe he called me a narcissist because I wasn't getting angry and I wasn't yelling back at him. I was just sitting in my chair. And I believe I said, why are you so mad? I was just trying to talk to you. And then later on, during the time Lieutenant Dobson was talking to me in the office, he was telling me what I did, how it's wrong, explaining to me, Josh was behind us. And he under his breath, he's going, you better get your Class A pressed. You're going down for this. I'm taking you down. Just muttering behind me during the whole thing.
When did this take place?
In the office.
In the lieutenant's office?
No. In the main office.
In the main
Yeah,
office?
he was on one computer. I was on the other one.
So the lieutenant was there to hear all this too?
Yeah, he was talking to me about what I had done. And I believe we were on...
Could he hear what O'Sullivan was saying?
I heard it, so I assume he could hear it, I don't know if he did. But, because we were on the phone with Chief Messina, and he was trying to see how I had access to this. And so Lieutenant Thompson explained to me, what was wrong with it, why I shouldn't have done it. And then Josh was just behind us, just muttering that, you're going down for this, I'm taking you down, get your Class A ready.
Did you say anything to him when he was doing that?
I honestly, at that point, I think I was like, just whatever, like throw my hand up, you know, because I'm trying to. At that point, I realized I was probably in a lot of trouble, so I was just kind of over the day.
What did Lieutenant Dobson say to you when this was said?
In the office at that
Yes.
time?
When you
He just said you can't access somebody's private information.
No, I mean when O'Sullivan said that you better get your Class A ready, I'm taking you down.
Nothing. He didn't even acknowledge it. And, you know, it kind of felt like I was never even asked my side until you showed up, Chief. Lieutenant Dobson came to me and just told me what I was doing.
Okay, so you've given us 2 examples. Anything else that was provoking?
Any other provoking? Nothing sticks out, right? Nothing else that I can really think of.
Okay, so counting those 2 incidents, how long did that take up of the day? What, 2 points for that? Was it in the morning?
Oh, yeah, well, the morning one during the argument was maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe. And then in the office, that was just a 5-minute thing.
Okay. At any point, did the lieutenant talk to the 2 of you about your attitudes towards each other?
No.
Did anybody in the department comment on your attitudes towards each other? Anybody else that was there?
No, not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Your attitudes towards each other inappropriate?
Absolutely.
Is there a policy that states how the engine or the rescue would be assigned? That states it's by Social Security?
No, sir. I don't believe there is. I believe it's just kind of the general philosophy that the senior person, I think it's just one of those how we do business deals. I don't think there's any policy.
Who has the ultimate decision?
The
At the station?
lieutenant. They do manning.
So there's no policy they have to follow?
No, I don't believe there is.
Now, earlier on you had said that the conversation between you and O'Sullivan when you first got back, this is where I'm confused, when he first got back from changing the engine after the call,
Yes.
you said we were conversating in a normal way, it wasn't hostile.
I believe maybe I said it wrong. It was we were talking throughout the day normally about like bids, and we were talking about the contract, and that was not hostile. We were just talking about our feelings on the contract, our feeling on station bids, and where we could go. And that's when he let it drop that his social was very low during that time, whereas earlier in the day he had mentioned that it was high. And then they went on to EVM to swap out, so there was like an hour or 2 break at that point. When they came back, that's when it was different.
Okay. And how many times roughly did you say that call him a liar? Was it once or was it multiple times throughout the day? Do you know?
No, I think it was just that when he first came in and over the text.
Anything else? No. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, it's 12:37. Again, we're back in here with Mr. O'Sullivan. Mr. O'Sullivan, I want to go back to the goading you on and the interaction between the 2 of you. And if you could, again, define that for me and then how often it happened. So, first of all, capture the demeanor between you and Mr. Perry throughout the day.
The demeanor was fine in the morning, and after he showed me the social security number, I was mad, but I didn't go up and get in his face and threaten him or anything like that, or cuss at him. I said that's it's probably pretty bush league that you went and did that. Now, what you say by goading, the fact that he kept on calling me a liar when that exchange was going on, him sitting in that chair and me in the island, and then after I went and complained and filed a complaint, he came back in there in the computer room and continually said this wouldn't happen if you were a liar. If you would have just told the truth of your social,
Where was the lieutenant when that's taking place?
where was like I said before, I believe he was at that other computer with Perry trying to see if he can go on there and access that information, the social security information via Firehouse. You know, I just don't.
And did the lieutenant make any comment at that point?
Not that I recall, no. But I just don't like it.
He did make the statement earlier that the lieutenant just said, let's go back to what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just it seems like if you know, I had my information stolen, which is just, it's like I stated before, it's like going in my wallet and just taking my stuff out and taking a picture of it.
I understand.
Okay, and I'm very upset about that. But the fact that I reported it, and then he's basically now trying to retaliate against me for stuff I didn't do. He's basically just trying to throw stuff at me. And see
Okay,
what's
I'm trying to capture that in its complete stroke. And,
Yeah.
and as I understand it, so far, all that you've explained to me is that he just kept calling you a liar, and that this wouldn't have happened if you just wouldn't have lied.
an effing liar, sure. But I mean, so basically he has no remorse for going online and a place he's not supposed to go.
Okay, I need to stay focused with what he said to you or what he did to you physically that would have led to goading you on.
There was no physical anything.
Okay.
You know, like I said before, he kept on being abusive. I was trying to mind my own business. And not
No
live.
physical, but he's been abusive. Define abusive for me.
You know, abusive would be calling me a fucking liar, calling me a liar continually, saying that this wouldn't have happened if you didn't tell me the wrong social security number.
Okay.
Basically,
How long through the day did that take off?
that happened when we got back from the call, and we went back and forth, and that's when I said, look, if you want the keys to the engine, take them. I was on the engine yesterday, whatever, take them. I'm tired of the whole seniority thing, the whole last four social, and then he said, no, I don't want them, but I walked out. Then that's when I just started fuming in the other room, and that's when Lieutenant Hernandez showed up like 15 minutes later, and I talked to him and asked him what I should do. He told me to report to Lieutenant Thompson. After that occurred later on in the day, was in the computer room writing the statement per Chief Clements, trying to ascertain what policies, stuff he violated. And that's when he came in there, stood over me from the back, and was like, Josh won't get off the computer. And I said, you didn't ask me to get off the computer. Slicker's about to be done with that one. That's when Dobson was in there, and that's when they tried to access the information.
Did you say anything to him when he asked to get off the computer?
Asked me to get off the computer?
Yeah, or what
I
you were doing on the
I
computer.
said, did I say what I was doing?
When you said he was in the same room, so was Lieutenant Dobson. You were at the computer looking up Social Security information, I believe.
Basically writing the statement and looking up what kind of stuff had been violated.
Did you guys talk to each other while he was standing behind
He
you?
stood over me for like a minute, and you could feel somebody when they're standing
Okay,
over
you
me.
never said nothing to him other than
He
go on the other
said,
computer.
he's not getting off the computer, I can't use it. And I said, you didn't ask me to get off the computer.
Okay.
And then I said, this computer's about to open up. Slicker is done with the fire report. He'd be more than welcome to get off. I was using that computer. There was another computer about to open up.
All right, I want to go to the conversation where the lieutenant was talking with Perry Carter about how he accessed your information.
Say that again. The conversation about how Perry Carter accessed my
When the
information.
lieutenant was talking with Perry Carter about accessing the information, you had a conversation with him. Were you there?
Yeah, I was in that other computer.
Okay. And were you making any comments at all to Perry Carter during that time?
When he kept on saying he's a liar, all this stuff, I just kind of scoffed. It was like that.
You didn't make anything about get your uniform pressed,
Get my
be ready for an investigation?
No. No.
Okay. So at no point you were standing behind him and egging him on?
No, that was the opposite. He was standing behind me and egging me on.
Okay. Let's go back to the keys. So at any point you never said he's going to have to come take the keys from you?
I said, you can come here and take the keys from me if you want.
Never made any comment about this is my station, my engine, you're going to have to come physically take the keys from me?
No.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question?
You can ask it.
Do employees still have does Perry still have access to people's social security number, and do other employees still have access
I'll answer your question after the
How about this?
investigation.
Very
I'll answer
simple.
your question
Okay.
after the investigation. Okay, that's
Hey Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County Copwatch. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.